If you're watching the headlines and you're looking at what's going on in Zillow and other search engine sites where you're seeing all the price cuts and you're seeing properties come on the market, go off the market for weird reasons, you're probably wondering what is going on. Is the market really about to collapse? Are we in fact seeing the beginning of an enormous implosion in the market? What's going on exactly? Well, my name is Jamin Goecker. I'm an associate real estate broker in the state of Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate. And today, I'm going to be giving you the market update for what's going on in the MatSu Valley, really looking at the month of February 2023 compared to the year before, and then kind of giving it to you in context and what it is that we're seeing. Now, before we get started, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, because it helps other people like you to find this content. And let's go ahead and jump into today's market update. Now, the first thing that I want to point out is that the total number of properties that are currently available on the market in the MatSu Valley went from about 203 properties available this time last year in February to 280 currently. Now, what that tells me is we're seeing an increase in the number of properties that are available compared to the year before. But realistically, that was the lowest it's ever been. Usually we see somewhere closer to about 4 or 5, sometimes even 600 properties available on the market for this time of year. So yes, it is going up, and it's not nearly as high as what we've seen in previous years. Also, in the MatSu Valley, new construction is a much bigger contributor to the overall market, and that's kind of been, I've seen that kind of ramped up lately. So I'm in fact, seeing that we're seeing, the new construction market is making up a bigger and bigger section of the total market makeup here in the MatSu Valley. Now, looking at the total number of properties that have sold, we see that this time last year there was about 130 properties that sold. Now, this year it's 82. So we're starting to feel the impacts of the interest rates going up, and people are looking around trying to figure out what's going to be their best options. And so for that reason, you're going to start seeing a drop in the number of properties that have actually sold. Now, for the reason that I'm sure most of you actually tune in here, let's talk about what's going on in the average sold price. So the average sold price in the MatSu Valley year to date for residential in the MatSu Valley went from about $382,000 this time last year. Now we're sitting at about $378,000, which is approximately a 1% drop. So at this point, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, this is a sign, the market's about to go up in flames, and this is going to be a fire sale everywhere. Get ready, and it's going to be here before you know it. Not necessarily, because keep in mind, year to date is just that, year to date. Most of the properties that sell are usually going to be around the beginning of the month or ending of the month. Lately, I've seen that be more the end of the month. So for that reason, we kind of want to look at and see what's going on for the average sold price for the entire month of February, for the month that we have all the data for. Now, looking at that, what we in fact see is that the average sold price went from about $366,000 this time last year to about $374,000 for this previous year. So seeing a bit of an increase there, nearly $10,000, not a huge change, but once you take into consideration, we are seeing a drop in the total number of properties that are selling. That's still pretty impressive. Not really any sign of the market going down anytime soon. And for the month of January, we actually did see there was an increase as well by approximately $20,000 compared to the year before. So not seeing this big market collapse here in the MatSu anytime soon. And this becomes even more pronounced once we start looking at the price per square foot, because I think realistically, that's probably going to be our best indicator moving forward, just because we have so many moving pieces. So the average sold price per square foot, this is the actual sold price, not what people were asking for, what they actually sold for. So this time last year, it was about $204.10. This year, it is $211.75. So you see that the price per square foot is increasing instead of going down. So realistically, I really just don't see this collapse anytime soon, because real estate keeps up as an asset class better with inflation. I expect you're going to continue to see real estate just increase and go up and up and up. The more we have inflation, the more these values are going to go up, which makes a lot of frustrated people out there watching it, and they're like, how can things, what's this magic that's creating these prices that are going up? It's like, well, time of inflation, and that's just going to have an impact on real estate because it keeps up better with inflation than any other asset class. And obviously, interest rates are going to be a big player in this market moving forward. At this point, if the interest rates have a big drop all of a sudden, it is going to be a complete madhouse, because you're going to see that it's going to be a feeding frenzy and there's hardly going to be anything available. If you are really looking at jumping in at a smart time, this might be it. I know that sounds kind of crazy to say, but if you can get something right now without the insane competition that you had to do in the past couple of years and then just refinance when the interest rates come back down, that's probably going to be your best option. Now, let's go and take a look and see what's going on in the condo market. So looking at the number of properties that have actually sold, we see that this time last year for condos, 2 condos sold. This year it is 1. So kind of a smaller sample size. Not a big surprise there. Now looking at condos for the average sold price year to date, we see that there was about 268,000 this time last year. Now it's 280 exactly. So this is what happens when you only have 1 or 2 properties to do comparisons on. I do see that the average sold price for condos are going up, as it is for anything else really related to real estate at the moment. But yes, it is going up, and there's so many more variables when it's such a small sample size. But yes, that is a promising thing if you are a condo owner, or a buyer for that matter too, because you want to buy something where it's actually increasing in value. We're going to take a look at what's going on in multifamily properties in just a minute, but before we get started with that, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about a new initiative we started with the Goecker Group this year, and that is where we and our clients are actually donating up to $50,000 towards local charities. And a really cool thing that we're doing in addition to just donating is also highlighting these charities that really do help our community. And the first charity that we're highlighting this month is going to be My House, and we have about a 2-minute video near the end of this market update. So if you want to check out and see what it is that they're doing, do make sure you go check that out and learn a little bit about it and what all it is that they do to really help and kind of be a backbone for kind of the homeless teen population here in the area. And if you want to donate, certainly feel free to follow the link, go to them. If you can just mention where you heard about them, we'd love to hear about it and love to hear that you were able to donate as a result of watching this update. That doesn't help me really in any other reason than just give me the warm fuzzies. Now, let's go and talk about what's going on in the multifamily market. This time last year, we had 13 multifamily properties that were on the market, and this year we're sitting at 30. So that's a pretty good jump from the year before. And, compared to the previous years, that's doing pretty good. Now, back in 2019, usually we'd be around 50 or 60. So in the grand scheme of things, it's still pretty low inventory, but, not nearly as low as what it's been in the past couple of years. Now, why exactly this has gone up so dramatically? I suspect part of it is just new construction multifamily properties. And also, I suspect we probably have more people where they have some kind of an extra property or some extra unit, like a mother-in-law suite or something like that on their property. They might be listing that as multifamily in addition to just the regular duplex, fourplex, and stuff like that. So those are a couple of my theories. I'd have to dive deeper to really get a better feel for that, though. Now, the total number of multifamily properties that have sold in the market so far, really just looking at the month of February, was 5 this time last year, and now it is 5 this year. So not a whole lot of change there. If you're an investor, good news is you do have a lot more options than they did the year before. Interest rates are going to be higher. There is talk of interest rates coming down. As soon as they do come down, obviously it is going to be a really competitive thing to try to get in and try to get something under contract again, just with everyone else that's trying to get in. So if you are considering jumping in as an investor, I would actually recommend you do it now while there's not a whole lot of competition. And once interest rates come down, then refinance and get the lower interest rate at that point. That seems a lot more prudent than trying to wait for this big real estate bust to happen. That's probably not going to materialize because this is a time of inflation and real estate as an asset class goes up during that time. It doesn't go down. Last but not least, the average sold price went for multifamily properties year to date went from about $494,000 to $574,000 during the year to date, which means we've seen about a 16% increase for the average sold price. I have a hard time really taking the year to date prices super seriously lately, just because we have seen it's the numbers between the year to date and then looking at the entire month and looking just at the finished months where we have all the data in at that point has been drastically different. I think that's because we're just getting smaller and smaller sample sizes. So those differences become even more apparent. But I do not doubt for a minute that we are seeing increases for the average sold price for multifamilies, because during a time of inflation, I keep saying that's probably the biggest factor right now. During a time of inflation, rents are going to go up. It's not because landlords are evil or they're trying to stick it to somebody. It's because the costs of everything with maintaining that building is going up, and the market dictates that the rents have to go up accordingly. But when they do that, the property does become more valuable. And I think the reason that we're seeing more inventory and the same number of people purchasing is because a lot of investors have, told themselves that what happened back in 2008, 2009 is going to happen again. There's going to be a huge crash and they're going to be able to swoop in and take advantage of all these properties that are available. And I am totally not seeing that in this market at the moment. I could be wrong. Well, not wrong, but more data could become more available later on here that would make me change my opinion. But based off of what we have right here in front of me, removing all the theories and, someone's hypothesis and some other YouTube video somewhere from someone who may not even be an investor in any way, shape, or form, I'm not seeing it right this moment. So we'll just see what happens. If you're an investor, I'd recommend jumping in now and refinancing later. So this has been your market update for what's going on in the MatSu Valley. If I'm a seller right now, I'm probably, I'd be more than willing to jump in right now because there's so few options. And you're probably still going to get a great price for your house. It's not going to sell instantly because average days on the market is taking longer. Interest rates are probably going to be the most important thing that we're going to see moving forward. But the properties that are priced correctly and marketed well and staged well are going to continue selling at a pretty good rate that I think you're going to enjoy. If you're a buyer, I would also recommend kind of jumping in now. I know it seems like there's not a whole lot of options and, the interest rate, and, I'm just going to wait till the market collapse. And the thing is, you can get something that's of quality right now and you can refinance later as soon as the interest rates do come down, which, they are going to come down eventually. And even if they don't, this is really just interest rates going back to historically what the average was. So we kind of got spoiled expecting 2.5%, 3% interest rates. You are probably never going to see that again in your lifetime. Okay, it's pretty, I would be really surprised if we saw that. So really just kind of adjusting our expectations around that, I think is going to set you up better for success than thinking you're just going to be able to swoop in and get an awesome deal where you're not going to have to compete. Interest rates are going to be great, and you're also going to have a ton of options. I'm not seeing a scenario in which all that happens. If it happens, I'm not going to complain, but I'm just not seeing it. So this has been your market update for the MatSu Valley. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
I was at a low point in my life where I needed assistance, and my ex was a client through here and told me about my house, so I then got engaged. No matter how hard or difficult life got, my house was a constant, and just love and support and just a continuous open arms, and that tough love when I needed it. One way or another, there's someone here that's been through similar circumstances. I won't say exactly what you've been through, but similar circumstances, so you feel the connection and the love and the support.
My house is a youth drop-in center. We work with homeless and at-risk teens that are 14 all the way up to 26 years old. We provide housing, transitional housing. We provide job opportunities, job training, getting kids back into school. We partner with agencies to provide mental health, behavioral health, and substance abuse treatment. Since we started, we've done intakes on over 950 teens and young adults, and we've trained over 200 baristas, and countless kids that we've had in housing have gone on to succeed and have jobs in the community and are just thriving. Really, I want my life to make a difference. I want to know that when I go to work, it's not just a job that I clock into. I want to know that that my days matter, and that when I show up to work, what we do matters in the lives of the kids that we meet.
Even if you feel like you don't deserve it, or if you feel like that you're not worthy of a better life, you are, and that we're here. That wasn't told to me enough, I feel, when I was younger, and so just knowing that we are here and that we want to help you and you do deserve a better life is something I want to spread. So.